Well, in year 8, am I right?
Yeah.
Year 8 it is then. And you were working on the collage of the clock, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Down there. Can you hold it up? Oh, there we are. Can you hold it up a minute?
Yeah.
There we are. It's a bit difficult with your wires and seconds. Gosh. How long did it take you to do that then? 150 years old, let me describe it. 150 years old. A background of blue on the top, which is the sky, of course, and the green of the earth, and the clock itself standing proudly and beautifully done too. So how long did it take to do this then?
About 3 weeks.
Oh, 3 weeks wasn't bad, was it? It wasn't bad, really. So, were you part of the design? Were they part of the design?
Well, they all were given a section of the town clock, and then they all cut up in pieces. So it's all like a project group which is put together, which is very similar to what we'll be doing with the terracotta clay.
Yes.
And then George's group has done a collage piece, which we haven't brought with us, but it's a big piece as well, and that's more textured, using lots of different materials. So they tell you more about it.
Yeah, Georgia, you're Georgia, aren't you? What exactly did you do?
We added all bits of like straw and put it all together and then painted it.
Yeah. And it's the clock itself as well?
Yeah.
It's all to do with the clock. Yeah. So, was it a nice thing to do? Part of your well, it goes into the history project as well, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, we enjoyed that.
Yeah, quite. Did you have to look up then, Georgia? Did you look up the background of the clock, the history of the clock as you were doing this, so you felt part of it?
Well, we had pictures.
We've been researching Welsh artists as well. Who've done who've done images of the town clock. So they've done a lot of artwork before with the hand. But I mean, it is part of their heritage, so I think it's important to continue the work in the lessons. And Sophie's done an exam on it, which is amazing as well. So.
Yeah. And you're going to be, celebrating this mosaic when the clock reaches 150 years old, is that right?
That's right, We may even bring 150 to people's after celebrate.
Oh, is that great? Good idea.
Why
Great
not?
idea. Why not indeed? And Sophie, you and I have something in common now. We won't we'll talk about myths here. When in the 6th form, I did art. There we are. And you've just done your GCSE art exam,
I did my GCSE art a couple of weeks ago.
Did you have a project to do for that? Very welcome indeed. And let me tell you, when we were talking a little earlier to Dr. John, of course, and Brian about the standing stones that are there to commemorate the efforts of Larry Bevan and what he did for the NHS. Well, I came across a poem, which is not generally known around here. It's called Ar Ben Wain Tredegar, which means on Tredegar Moor. Kind of a love poem, really, very short, just two verses. On Tredegar Moor there are berries and nuts. On Tredegar Moor there are apples in May. On Tredegar Moor there's every kind of fruit. And it's there my love is. My love is noted for keeping vigil at night. My love said many a crossword. My love is noted for looking happy. My love nearly broke my heart. Sounds as if you've got a few problems there, hasn't it? So many things then flash into the mind as I think about Tredegar, to top end of the Sir Howie Valley. That's what we're talking about here. And a town that developed well from 1800 onwards. I've been here many times. The Hospice of the Valleys, of course, that's an interesting sort of concept as well. It's a hospice without a main building to it. It's an organization as such, embryonic, and then takes in, the places where the people actually are suffering. And also travel just to the north. Travel, no doubt, will be mentioned a little later in the program. A unique village, to be clear, just to the north of Tredegar too, and just down here where we're talking about an area where Tredegar Ironsides rugby side was. When I first started working in Bath, there was a wonderful man in the centre for, the team I played for then. He was Basil Price. He would be well known around here too. So it all comes back. Very homely indeed. And between now and 4 o'clock, we'll be meeting Diane Dan and her husband Gary and finding out guests here. Well, let's go to one guest first of all. Something of a human dynamo in Tredegar. Diane Dan, her name double D. Let me tell you, grew up here, became a butler in Redcoat, wearing red today, and is now driving a force behind Kids Are Us. Or are you, isn't it? Kids Are Us, that's right. Which is based on a renovated chapel. Far from here, Parkville? Parkville, there we are. So tell us the full story, so over to Diane here. And Gary, you won me very well, so it's very good of you to turn up today, fair play.
Thank you very much. With a fever, I'm afraid.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, point that way then. No, it's good of you to come along actually, in this kind of fresh weather as well. Now, Diane, Kids Are Us. This is a fantastic story because you put your head on the line here, didn't you?
Yes, I did. About 5 years ago, I came back after my Butlins day with my husband Gary, and we had another little girl. And local teenagers knew that I was a bit of a mad thing, and knocked my door and asked me would I start a dance class for them.
Right.
The first week there was 3, and the most kindly let us use their venue. And the next week there was 6, and about 10 weeks after that, next week after that, I'd gone back to school, and they ended up about 40 kids. So then you think, what am I going to do with all these?
And they all wanted to.
They all wanted to dance. Yeah. So I thought, I know, I'll go back to the old red coat, blue coat type shows, and started doing variety shows. And every show, more children joined. So eventually, after about 18 months, we had about 180 children.
Because when you say you put on a show, you're now talking about weeks of preparation, aren't you?
Yes, but they learn very quickly. Yeah. Very, very quickly. Too quick, really. But I had a good team around me. I had fantastic parents, and it is all support from these parents. And we seem to be very lucky because the amount of talent of parents who could sew and could do stage and sound and lighting, everybody just seemed to come together and coordinated it, and did a lot of shows that I used to do in the buckling circuit. So for me, I had a lot of music there anyway, different things. So I repeated a lot of things that I did. And then my middle daughter, who does dancing, all this street dancing, my Britney Spears days are well and truly over. But
go and put yourself down.
Believe me, you haven't seen me. I'm good on the microphone, but not so good on the odd quick step I can do. Yeah. But anyway, and a good side step. But so we started doing these shows as a production shows and music stuff.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
And then it's okay. Hi. And then, like I said, the numbers grew, the costumes grew, and of course the number we had to look for somewhere then to store our costumes. And
when I said you put your head on the line there, I mean, you also put your purse on the line.
Yeah. But we were desperately looking for our own building because it was costing us so much to rent and to keep our costumes. So we actually seen Park Place Chapel come on the market, and the Dean, which is John Jenkins, desperately wanted to go to a community-based project. So I literally begged NatWest, who supported us, and my husband and I and Lindsay signed as guarantors against our house and bought the building.
I was going to ask, Gary, you've been quite demure. What kind of night was that? Was it a dark and stormy night when you signed that without realising what you're doing?
I love him.
Love him too.
Anyone who knows you, I love him.
You didn't have any agitation, did you?
No, not at all. To be honest, it's such a successful organisation, and the venue itself is 3 stories. The mortgage was only for £40,000, which in the current market is not a great deal of money. And, you know, I mean, probably now after grant funding that we've had to renovate the building, it's actually worth in excess of £300,000, so it's a success story in itself.
You're a drama teacher, aren't you?
I am a drama teacher, yeah. Like I say, not too well at the moment, but I do teach children. I'm the chairman of Kids Us, and also I teach the drama at Kids Us, although I haven't been able to recently. But fortunately, we've been training these children after we finished introducing dance. A few of them wanted to do the drama, so we've been training them for the last 3 years. And there's a young lady now who's called Leah Thomas, who is at university in Cardiff, and has very kindly been driving back from Cardiff. I've trained her over the years, and she's now teaching for me whilst I'm off sick at the moment. So
it's great,
really successful in itself.
I'm just thinking, you know, you're married to the dynamo next to you. No wonder you got down to glandular fever.
Amongst a few other things.
No. Well, you're quite an inspiration, really. So, you know, and it's still going on. From a fair play. You want some money from Children in Need, you do?
Yes, I actually worked there now. It was voluntary for the first 3.5 years, and I've actually been funded by Children in Need to work on it full time, because they're really impressed and so supportive. The rest of us, as we're a social enterprise, we actually got 16 staff. A lot of those are children who are actually being trained now to teach dance and drama, and we've got a choir, and we've been to the West End.
Have you?
Oh yeah, we're really posh now. We've been invited back as a dance craft. And
I have a theory as well, you know, it's all in the mind, isn't it? With children need to be told, especially as they grow up and become teenagers, that they have a right to be, they have a contribution to make, they should have a feel-good factor about themselves. And this is doing all of that for them.
I've got a little story I'd like to tell everyone, because when I get down, and believe me, there's days when I think, my God, what a monster that we've created, because it's a lot of hard work. I always think of this little story. I've got a young lad who comes to work for me, and I'm going to probably dwell up, because I've been thinking about it, and you'll cry, I know you will. This young lad comes to me, and he's been fostered. And he's been with us for quite a while, and he was speaking to the social services on the effects of being fostered. He's now 16. And it's hard for me to tell the story, because he's very proud of it. He tells it to everyone. And he said to me the one day that he'd been speaking in a formal meeting, and they